Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final team project for AAI-531. This has been completed by myself and Thomas Gerasi. Today, we will be exploring AI ethics, and we will specifically be looking at AI in hiring and resume screening.
Thomas Strassi here with Team5, and I'll be covering principles of AI ethics, which encompass fairness, transparency, accountability, human oversight, and reliability. AI hiring systems raise important ethical concerns because they can influence who gets considered for a job and who gets filtered out before a human ever even reviews the application. In our project, we focus on fairness, transparency, and accountability because these are some of the most important principles in AI driven hiring. Fairness matters because qualified candidates should not be rejected simply because the resume does not match exact keywords or formatting patterns. Transparency matters because applicants often have no idea how these tools evaluate them or why they were rejected. Accountability matters because employers should still be responsible for the outcomes of their systems they chose to use. We also believe that human oversight is absolutely essential, since hiring in a high stakes decision that affects people's income, career growth, and future opportunities. Overall, AI should be used to support better hiring decisions, not to create a process that is faster but less fair.
Now, a quick look at the unintended stakeholders and impacts. When we look at fairness in AI resume screening, the most obvious stakeholders are the applicants. One major concern is that qualified candidates can be filtered out before a human ever reviews their application. Now, these systems are often trained on historical hiring data, which means that they can unintentionally reproduce past bias. Another issue is that applicants usually don't have a way to appeal or even understand why they were rejected. Now, a 2024 study from researchers at the University of Washington found that resume screening AI favored white associate names in over 85% of cases and disadvantaged black male applicants in up to 100% of cases. That shows how these systems can quietly decide who never even gets a chance to interview. Up next, employers are also affected. If biased AI influences hiring decisions, organizations can face legal liability, discrimination lawsuits, and even reputational damage. They may also miss strong candidates because the filtering system removes them way too early on. Now, at a broader level, society as a whole is impacted as well. If these biased hiring systems scale across industries, they can widen economic inequality, reinforce work imbalances, and reduce social mobility. So, when AI shapes who gets hired, it also shapes who gets opportunity. So, my personal perspective gets shaped mainly through my faith, specifically as a Christian. So, fairness in AI hiring is especially important to me because employment decisions often affect people's opportunities and long term stability. Now, one principle that shapes my view is the idea that all people are created in the image of God, which emphasizes that every person has inherent dignity and shouldn't just be reduced to a screening score or some sort of automated ranking. Now, I also think that fairness matters when it comes to access to opportunity. A principle that I get from the book of Deuteronomy says that decisions should not show any sort of partiality. And I think that this applies well to how organizations should evaluate the fairness of AI hiring systems today. If these systems unintentionally reinforce bias, that can limit opportunities instead of expanding them. And at the same time, I do believe AI can be extremely helpful for managing large numbers of applications. But I think that it should support human decision making rather than replacing it altogether. Organizations still have responsibilities for outcomes that their systems produce, especially when those outcomes affect people's careers and their futures.
My biggest concern with AI hiring is the lack of transparency in the process. Most applicants do not know if the resume was reviewed by a person or screened out by software, and they usually don't know what factors mattered most in that decision. That makes the process feel unfair because people are being judged by a system that they cannot see or understand. So It also makes it harder to improve since applicants may never know whether the issue was their experience, their wording, or just the way the algorithm was built. So another problem is that these systems can be manipulated. A good example is white text keyword stuffing. This is when someone hides job-related words inside of a resume, and then the AI detects it, even though the recruiters may not see the words since they are turned white. So, to me, that shows that some of these systems are not truly evaluating quality. Instead, they may be reward people who know how to trick the software. Meanwhile, honest and qualified applicants can be overlooked. And I think people deserve hiring a hiring process that gives them real and fair chance to be seen.
So, as a team, we believe that AI can be a very helpful tool in the hiring process, especially when organizations are reviewing large numbers of applications. However, it should support human decision making rather than replacing it completely. And one of our biggest concerns is transparency. Many applicants don't know when AI systems are being used or even how those systems evaluate their resumes. That makes the hiring process feel unclear and sometimes unfair, especially when applicants don't have a chance to understand or respond to those decisions. Now, we're also concerned about fairness. If AI systems rely too heavily on historical hiring data or can be manipulated through techniques like hidden keyword stuffing, they may reward people who understand how to work around the system rather than those who are most qualified. Overall, we believe that organizations should regularly evaluate their hiring tools for bias, clearly communicate when AI is being used, and remain responsible for the outcomes that their systems produce. AI can improve efficiency, but fairness and accountability should remain the top priority.
In conclusion, AI hiring tools can create serious ethical risks when resume screening relies too heavily on keywords or automated rankings. When that happens, the system may overlook people who are actually qualified and instead reward applicants who know how to tailor or manipulate the resumes to match whatever the software is looking for. That creates a major fairness issue because hiring should be based on real ability and potential, not just who understands how to game the system better. It also creates a transparency problem, since most applicants do not know why they were filtered out or what the system valued the most. That's why our group believes that AI should support hiring decisions, not quietly control them. A better solution is the two pass hybrid screening system we proposed. In this approach, AI would still be used for efficiency, but instead of automatically rejecting applicants, it would rank candidates using contextual understanding rather than simple keyword matching. Then human reviewers would evaluate not only the top candidates, but also a portion of the applicants the AI would have otherwise screened out. This helps catch qualified people the system may miss. Over time, those human decisions can also be used to retain and improve the model, reducing bias and making the process more accurate.